Hello, 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 and welcome to Bitches with Beards. And on today's episode, I asked a question. The girls are fighting, aren't they?
And Marjorie, just so you know, that is the night the lights went out in Georgia.
We're the podcast that attempts to break down culture with all the elegance of two coastal grandmas.
But in truth, we're just a couple of bitches with beards.
I'm Max.
And I'm Daniel.
And we're live in a Diane Keaton podcast studio in Haberdashery.
And we both have opinions, so let's get this party started.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm going to tap my mic quickly. Yeah, it's good. So,
That's
it
good.
looked a bit loud.
Oh.
You know, that's suspicious.
You're coming through quite fine for me.
Yeah, I'm a bit actually slightly disappointed there's not more mess. The hub's got to the kitchen.
And cleaned it up.
It is Sunday morning, the morning after Pride. We're not drinking, so we're going to record whatever, but I was kind of hoping to literally have the wires weaving around empty sodden wine bottles.
Well, I'm surprised there aren't like bodies strewn about the kitchen or, you know, the upstairs. There could be. I didn't go upstairs. Who's to say?
There's just a Staffordshire Terrier and a charming guy from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark. Mark's in the background.
Hi, Mark.
So I want to jump in quickly before we begin everything, because it was going to be news, and I was like, no, it's bigger than news. What did you think of the Wicked for Good trailer?
Oh, my God. I loved it.
Yeah.
So much anticipation. They know what they're doing with the edits for the trailers.
It's well done. I'm excited by I mean, for me, I love seeing the answers to the stuff that the musical did not need to answer. And where was Elphaba living for the first bit?
Right.
Because I couldn't remember when... Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the second act of Wicked, jump ahead 5 minutes. When Fiyero offers her his family's summer house...
I think it's summer house.
Yeah.
Summer castle or
But
something.
I can't remember. That is in the second act then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is in the second act. However, in the book, wasn't she like in the Emerald City proper, like hiding out in like a warehouse or something?
She
or a
hides
tower?
out in places.
And she was at an abbey at one point.
Yeah, and because the nuns have her son.
Yes.
And I know...
TBD if that comes up.
I need to read that book. Because he's in the book. What's the kid's name? I can't remember.
The second book is all about him.
Yeah, Son of a Witch.
Yeah.
So in the book, if you haven't read the book of Wicked, in the second part of it, she has a boy with her, and it's never specified as to who the boy is. You know who he is if you've seen any soap opera, but no. I just and it is mentioned. I love the bit where you see them going through and you see her in the trees. Because have you read the Wicked book?
Yes.
The opening, the prologue of the Wicked book is her in the trees looking down at the Friends of Oz.
Yeah. As they're walking through the
The
forest.
So that bit was, for me, I took that as a nod to the book. They're doing that.
Yeah.
It looks good. I'm always a bit concerned about the new music.
I'm hopeful for the new music.
I mean, the only show that I know that's inserted new music well is, and it's a weird one, is Hairspray did the one they took out the Madison and they put in the one for the one that when they noticed Tracy for the first time, the one that Link is seeing, that's new. And his one, It Takes Two, his slower solo is cut. And you just hear the end of the music, but it's not a good song.
Oh, yeah, I was
It's
gonna say,
like that. And the Madison's the group dance. They do that in the original movie, and then in the musical on stage, and then they take it out, and it's like. But yeah, they don't always insert new music. Well, Evita though, You Must Love Me, and Beautiful City was written for the Godspell movie. And now is actually, I think, one of the better. Is a beautiful song, and they've done that. Yeah. So I'm hoping I feel it should be good, but I think dramatically it's going to be stunning.
Yes.
Visually
it's going to be stunning based on what we've seen.
It's got to keep the musical pacing though, because we could be in trouble. But
they did it well in the first act.
Yeah, and people were bitching and going, "Oh well, the second act is not as strong." I'm like, it is. It's just the first act's funner.
Yeah, you just have to flesh out the second act a bit.
If you like fantasy, you're going to like this. And I think someone's like, Glinda and Fiyero spies, and I'm like, I will. But even in a weird way, I'm like, are they going to? Especially, I suppose people are coming from like watching Andor, which I'm not allowed to mention.
No, you're not.
There was just a lot of similarities this weekend. Anyway, that's what I'm going to say, and it wasn't pointed out by me. But no, I wonder whether or not they're going to flesh out a lot to do with like her, and it makes sense, the idea, because you've got to come out of it. You're always going to be rooting for Elphaba. Mm-hmm. Galinda is always, and they really have done well with. I mean, Michelle Yeoh is just such a subtly beautiful actress, and her ability to. She delivers 1,000 lines with one single word.
Mm-hmm. Just a look.
Just a look. And that's helped in her interactions with the witches, because it's you see the favouring of Elphaba, and then the hatred towards Galinda, which in a way then when she then at the end of it brings her into the fold. Galinda was craving that by denying her, Galinda wanted it more. So that element of it is in such safe hands, and the scene. And I'm wondering as well, is because I read and I know you read a lot about the costumes. God, we're going to talk a lot about Wicked, I can tell.
You're talking a lot about Wicked.
Sorry. But like her hair, Morrible's hair was really tight. And the idea was it looked like storm clouds.
Yes. And then you saw the hand gestures, and it was very much like a cyclone.
And conducting as well. But did you notice her hair was looser?
Yes.
And I wonder whether or not that is the idea they're going to show the plan unraveling. And
I could see it. Like, it's coming apart.
And I that's what I liked, and I even know someone. I said I like the idea that it looks like Wonderful is going to be more of a Busby Berkeley, and someone who their name went, well, it always is, and I'm like, well, no, but it looks like they're really going to play up the Busby Berkeley, because you see at one point the wizard go up into the air, and I think that's all going to be part of this larger theatrical piece.
It's going to be an homage to classic cinema and the classic musical.
Yeah, so but at the same time, like, obviously trailers are easy, trailers are going to be done, but I am where, and people have kind of said already in the reviews for the trailer, they can tell they're going to hit the emotional notes really, really well,
which is what we want, what we're craving for.
But just to end it, there was a meme, and it was Bowen Yang with a sour face, and it was like when Farney hears that only one of her friends has meant something. It's just him going,
Not tension there.
Yeah, no tension. I wonder if they're gonna bring Farney and Shin Shin into this one.
I think they might.
Yeah, I think they do need. I think that.
I thought Bowen mentioned that they've already filmed scenes with him in it. So I feel like even if they're sort of in the background,
they weren't in the second act, were they? I don't.
No,
think.
They were not in the second act.
Yeah, but I think it makes sense that they. I think just to give us something. I think the way they
continuity,
and just the idea that she took the friends with her. So Daniel, how was your week?
I mean,
Happy Pride, by the way.
Happy Pride. I feel like my week could be summed up by battlefields, patriotism, and diamond tiaras. Was basically what my week was at.
God,
at
so
work.
nothing different then.
Nothing different whatsoever.
How was the daycare center?
The daycare center was trying at times. There was a lot of self-discovery. About
you can get arrested for that doing that in the office.
Oh, well, you can. There was a lot of discovery about abilities, and wow, it's just blowing trajectories off path. We'll put it that way. So it's great. The lemmings behaved this week. Just certain things came to light, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god.
I don't want your job, Daniel.
I
want a job, not your job.
I don't even know that I want my job at this point. I'm like, I
couldn't deal with yours.
I just want to wake up and like not have some of the craziness. Like a little bit's fine, but not all of it.
I'm like a weekend dad, like when it comes to my co-workers, is I want someone else to deal with the emotional bit of it, most of the time. I come in and be fun dad. I bake cookies.
Yeah, I'm very much a fun dad in the office, but like this week I was not able to be fun dad.
I might need to bake you some cookies to take in. I need to bake again, and we're gonna get fat if we keep eating all
I mean, I will take whatever you bake.
If you ever have a day that you're like, it would be useful to come in with some cookies, let me know.
Maybe not this week coming up, but the week after might be a good idea.
I can tell.
Yeah, because it's gonna be rough. How about you? What about your week?
Yeah, we had. I'm trying to think what we got up to in the end. Well, it went from storms to sun,
And storms again, yes.
and crazily, I ordered my new passport and it arrived already. And it was so quick, and
Very quick.
And they sent it on Wednesday and it arrived on Friday, and I was meant to go for a long run, and then they go like, "Hey, it's gonna be here between 11 and 2." I'm like, "Fuck."
So no long run.
Probably a good thing because the sun reel came out, and I was like, no, it should have been earlier. But no, we had that. The job hunt, we've had some good things this week. We're seeing if they're going to get better. That's on that note.
Putting good energy out into the universe on that one.
But I did do I don't usually like doing video stuff. I do video. I don't.
The videographer doesn't like doing video stuff. Interesting.
Because of the way the job hunt is at the moment, and I've spoken about it on multiple episodes about it, but it is very slow, and you are not guaranteed to be seen. And my issue now is that, so when we my last place would ask for, because we were looking for graphics people, they would go through a phone interview with HR. They would meet with my supervisor. And then he would then give them a task. He would make it very clear it would never be used for anything other than, because some places do that, and you have to be very careful of that. They would take your work. And then I would look at it and see that before I was brought into the third. So people wouldn't have gone through 2 interviews before they were asked to do any work. And so I've been very like, oh, if you want to apply for this job, you have to do this. I'm like, no, that's not. I want to be, you need to have shown me evidence that you've read my resume and I'm even remote. So a job came up, and it's local in DC, and I'm on LinkedIn Plus on their free trial at the moment, so I can get myself ahead on certain limited amount of apps. But also it was a low number. They wanted a video to explain why you wanted to do this role. And I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. I can't complain that nothing's happening, if I don't take a different stance on something. And it was a lot of fun. I did it around the house. And I can probably rejig some of it if I needed an emergency of a video, but they wanted someone on camera, so you had to do it. And it was a lot of, I did it around the house. I did it Tuesday, and it was really well done. So I liked it. I set the mic up. I had my auto cue. I had to show I had on-camera presence.
Oh my gosh!
And it was good. And I was out by the grill with my Princess Leia apron on. And
were you shirtless?
No, okay. That came up in a. So I have had an interview this week, and they did ask me about my TikTok and my that. And now the trouble I have is that I work for an NGO. Let's start pulling the curtain back. And to be blunt, I could have made. I'm trying to think of. I could have made the best movie, and it would never have got anywhere near the viewership, because no one gives a shit about foreign affairs and NGO. Yeah. Even though there was marches yesterday for it,
right?
And my union. Oh, we saw Jeff.
He
was marching with my old union. So I could have done anything. They're like, so the interview was like, well, what's your numbers like? I'm like, no one gives a shit about global politics.
No one does.
So he goes, what's your TikTok like? And I'm like, I take my shirt off. And the guy eyes wide open. I said, I take my shirt off and review movies. And he goes, why? I said, because it stops people on a scroll. And he goes, oh, okay. He goes, and I explained so much of the behind the scenes of it. But no, so... Yeah, but I did this video. I did not take my shirt off. It started in me pouring a cup of tea and then kind of going, hi, I'm Max Sycamore. Ignore the accent. I live in DC.
I swear, I'm local.
I think the opening line is, hi, I'm Max Sycamore. I said, I've got 20 years experience. I know, I only look 19. Ignore the accent. I do live here in DC. So I did some humor and I spoke about it. And I thought it was a really good video.
It's very much giving me an Elle Woods vibe.
It was very much I should have had someone come in and go, what happened on EastEnders last night? That was been nuts this week. But also going back to the interview and move on, is the guy went, so tell me what your stories are getting here. And I said, well, I started off, my story is that I was taken to see Star Wars and I fell in love with Star Wars and I started to look at how it was made and it got me interested in filmmaking. And he went to me, oh, what did you think of Andor? And I can't believe I said this. I said, I really, really loved it. It's elevated the Star Wars brand. I said, I cannot cannot talk to you about this. He goes, why? I said,
We don't have enough
we have time. And he looked at it, he laughed. I said, honestly, we really don't have enough time for me to break down Andor. But he had my glasses, but in red, which weren't available because you came in with me when I got them. They weren't available.
Yeah.
But anyway, aside from that, I want to say this week, and it's something we can. Weirdly, I had a really long day. So I had the interview on Thursday, and I had the second one on Friday. Mm-hmm. But I was exhausted, and my bestie here, my sister, had bought me some chocolate for self-care. And I have not done this in a while. It wasn't they weren't huge bars.
No, they were very small bars.
But they were enough if you could do half. But I was like, I really want to eat a whole bar of chocolate in a weird way. Like I wanted to eat, and they were just I have to thank you because they were just the right size where half is not enough. Full maybe felt a bit indulgent. You really wanted 3/4. So I sat at the book. I'm blitzing through Thursday Murder. My mum has highly recommended the this not the spin-off, but his side project.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to sit up on the roof deck with a cup of tea and just eat a whole bar of chocolate. And my body needed it.
Yeah.
And then you told me there's something about people that have given up alcohol.
Craving chocolate.
And I think it's a sugar because yesterday on the parade route, they were giving out candy. And I just had this sugar. And I've never had sugar cravings like it.
So the thing with the chocolate is, one, if you're ever craving chocolate, listeners, one, most of the time it's like reacting a nostalgia thing for you.
Oh, definitely.
But two, it's something about the amount of sugars and the way their chemistry is within a bar of chocolate helps with alcohol cravings.
Well, and you got me the chocolate bar. I like the Snap again because I was not allowed chocolate like that as a kid. So again, you got your nostalgia. You got me though that peanut butter cube. That's one and done.
Because I know my bestie loves peanut butter and chocolate.
But they were one and done.
Oh yeah,
and in a good way.
Yeah.
Like that, I had that, and that's 2 bites. Do you know what gives me nostalgia? And it's the weirdest thing. You're gonna look at me. The taste of wood.
I get that.
Do you know why the taste of wood? Popsicle sticks.
Yeah.
I was having one the other night, and my tongue hit the wood, and I was 5 years old again.
I totally understand that.
Yeah, and I wrote that into my book. Actually, one of the characters is she's older and she's having a lollipop and ice lolly, and she goes and she's suddenly the taste of wood sends her back.
To me, the wood is a sickness flavor for me. Like we used to have like banana popsicles when I was sick, so like.
Thanks, bud.
So like the flavor of banana and the wood, I totally understand how wood would bring you back.
Now, actually, we're going to move on to Ian Einer's Garden. But, and just like that, they're walking through, I think is it Bryant Park? What's the one of the arch in New York?
Washington Park. It is Bryant Park. Washington Arch, yes.
Yeah. And Seema had, they were eating something, and Seema's ice cream was bright orange, and I'm like, I know what that is. Sherbet. They were eating sherbet. I knew that because there was no way they were out on the street eating sorbet, you don't get ice cream. And I was like, oh my god, they're
sherbet.
And I listened to and just like that Writers Room podcast, which is I really fucking love because there's a woman of color in it who basically defends the idea of white privilege because she goes, I want to see indulgence. But she goes, and Michael Patrick King goes, and they're walking through Bryant Park with sherbet, and I'm like, I knew it was sherbet.
That's right. Score for me.
So Daniel, I'm going to quickly walk over to the coffee pot and get some more coffee. Do you want to say so? But what do you want to take a wander around Einer's Garden?
Yeah, so we're going to wander around Einer's Garden. So didn't do the normal Whole Foods thing because it is the morning after Pride. We're having I'm having a lovely cup of tea, Earl Grey. I don't remember if it's no, let me see. It is it's the Twinings Earl Grey. It's very nice. Very good flavor, very good balance. And you're having coffee, and it's rather nice that we're doing this not hungover, but it's, I don't want to say it's a nostalgia recording, but it's an early morning recording.
It's 10, it's almost 11 now, but no, it is. That's why we could do this though, because we weren't going to be battling, and we're not sure. We're going to talk about Pride in a minute, but I've got a nice. We just did a second pot of coffee. Yeah, it's just nice.
I might talk myself off in a minute, but yeah.
Oh, we'll have to have a break soon, then. So which means we should hurry over then to the news.
And then we should.
King of the segue still. So this is the part where we discuss all the news in the neighbourhood, which has been light this week, actually.
It's been very light, and it's been gay adjacent, and camp, and in between.
What's this sound? It's the bottom of the barrel being scraped.
Literally, like, I feel really bad about 2 of my stories because I was just like, they're a bit of a throwaway. So sorry, listeners.
Well, this first one is like Pride adjacent, and it was talking about, so as we know, the new administration, the settled administration, has rolled back on DEI. A lot of corporations are following suit. It has been, I'm trying to find the actual accurate reportings of it though. Target has been, it's been recorded as one of the most successful protests of people of color though. In that, and we have Costco here. By the way, hands up to Costco chicken last night, which I had multiple people say, where's that chicken from, Kirkland? But they are saying, and there's been stories in DC of the effect of the lack of sponsorship. The Kennedy Center and the they said LSO. Is it the NSO? NSO, yeah. LSO is London Symphony Orchestra. NSO had to, cancel an event, which was blamed on other things, but that was due to lack of corporate funding.
Right.
We are obviously, me and Daniel have had multiple discussions on this podcast regarding the effect of corporations. I will say this year, the corporations, even though they were present, did actually come down in some great floats.
They did.
The Starbucks one was really cute.
Starbucks one was good, and I actually liked the Kaiser one with the heart that was spinning around.
Yes, so they did bring it this time, but they are saying that a lot of the Pride celebrations have met 6-figure challenges this year owing to corporate exodus, and it will not directly really affect the prides, but the future events. So prides do also support the community. Yeah. Question one, DC. But they are several reported 20 to 30% less corporate sponsorship than last year. So corporate sponsor partners have backed out of the San Francisco Pride this year, and that includes, and I'm going to name and shame. This is a name and shame podcast. Nissan, Comcast, Xfinity, and Bud Light. So
will not be patronizing them.
Yes. It's a shame on Bud Light because they really they could have done so much, but Cars has always been traditionally more favorable to Cars sorted it out. The Teamsters were the ones that got involved. Cars were fucking over the Teamsters, weren't they?
I think so. Yeah.
History. So, talking of DC being out in a party and Teamsters, really, DC councillors paused the initiative A2 tipped wage increase. So, this is the idea was that in DC, the minimum wage for tipped employees was very low. The idea being that it was made up with tips. If you received under that, it was by law required that the restaurant or the business that you work for had to make you up to minimum wage. This was completely ignored in various initiatives to bring it in. That was fudge, and if people weren't there should have been an initiative that really cracked down on businesses that weren't meeting that standard. But, hey, that would be the easy way. That'd also be like basically making sure gun laws actually were enforced rather than just creating new ones. But this is just not how the world works.
No.
But basically, they've been steadily increasing it. So it wasn't an overnight increase.
It's been gradual.
It will not rise from $10 to $12. DC Council, some are still pro it. There has just been such a wave of restaurant closures that they are concerned by the increased running costs. They are still, and they are really starting to vocalize now how they will always get the minimum wage, and it also. It's not like we don't tip. Me and Daniel and the Hubs especially will go out and still tip, even though we're not meant to tip. It's very hard. Yeah. A bit of juicier news. Tom Felton, who is famous for playing Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter movie series, is going to Broadway to play Draco, the adult Draco. He would now be age appropriate on the Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. So that's interesting. I still have not seen that. I think Broadway's only in one part now, isn't it?
I think so, but it's very long.
Yeah, West End's still 2 parts. Yeah. And the touring production's coming. I know. I am very curious to see it. I know we shouldn't be, but it's interesting him doing it. I think it's great. I think I know we should be anti-Harry Potter, but he looks good in it as well. He's very daddy in it.
I was just like, oh, Tom.
So to make up for me supporting Harry Potter. I don't support J.K. Rowling. I hate the bitch, but I just still love Harry Potter. The Onion did a spoof article about the new Harry Potter series, and it was like people asking questions. Will my child like it? Yes, your 35-year-old sitting child will love the series. So going from defying J.K. Rowling to defying DeSantis, so basically they banned in Florida lighting up bridges to make them look like gay pride flags. They went ahead anyway.
Yes.
So LA LGBT Floridians demonstrated they didn't need state permission for queer visibility. The bridge looks stunning. So they they didn't just light it up like a little bit. They lit it for the gods.
And do you know how they did it?
How?
They did it with their hands. They were holding the lights as opposed to actually attaching it to a bridge. So I'm not sure that it was, a long art installation, but it was an art installation for enough photographs to be taken of it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And on to beautiful, Daniel, what's your news of the week?
Oh, my news of the week. So it was announced this past week that Jonathan Anderson has now been named the solo creative director of Dior. This last occurred under Mr. Dior himself.
So how's it been done since?
So since then, it has been broken up into men's and women's, essentially, creative directors. And then sometimes it's been even subdivided into resort wear, and then the high fashion. So we'll see what happens with that.
So actually, I'm going to ask you then is, do you think this is a good thing? Do you think it's going to be overstretched? Or do you think you're going to see more brand consistency, which it much needs at the moment?
I think it's going to be much more brand consistent. I think it's going to be interesting. His take on Dior, as he's coming from Loewe, which is much more, whimsical. I think it's going to be fresh life into Dior.
Because I don't know much. I couldn't tell you a lot, but when I hear like Dior and that, I feel like there's a lot of like sharp lines and very focused, very professional.
Very sharp lines, very restrictive, at least with like the new look. So like, I think it's going to be looser lines.
He's brought in for a reason.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing, bringing him.
Yeah, absolutely. In some more good news, Australian scientists have made a breakthrough in the fight against HIV. Using mRNA technology, they're able to flush out suppressed HIV, preventing replication. It could lead towards a new path in treatment.
Nice, excellent.
To be determined when further testing is going to happen on that one. So, and this, listeners, I apologize for this story, but like we said, we are scraping the bottom of the barrel this week. Gracie McGraw has come out as an out and proud queer bisexual woman. The 28-year-old is the daughter of Tim and Faith McGraw, and so that's all I've got on that.
No, I do think though, and it is needed because it's often been said and if you've ever seen the film Milk, this is a Pride is a podcast. Actually, that was last week. Pride is a podcast episode, but.
Yeah.
There's a scene in the film Milk when they are not sure if this initiative is going to go through. It will be harm the gay community no ends, and they say if you haven't come out, you have got to come out. Your parents need to know they are gay people in your family.
Right.
And Tim, I don't know what Tim McGraw his attitude is like. It's a bit like who's married to Trisha Yearwood?
Garth Brooks.
I'm not quite sure where his leanings are. The husband's is always a little bit, but Faith Hill, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Faith Hill and Trisha and all that have always, they're not as LGBT maybe as Reba and Dolly are another level of what the hell is going on there.
Yeah.
But but these women really are the gateway to it, and so it is. I know it's not. It is a bit scraping the bottom of the barrel if you look at it from a certain point of view. But they are.
But from the other lens, yes.
But they are like
needed.
they're a huge couple. They talk a lot about their marriage, how they work on their marriage, and it survives in the country scene. They've got like the 2-week rule. They are very, very united. If you ever saw Dolly's Country, have you seen her? They are the only couple in it that appear together and interact. I think they were the only two filmed together. So that is how they are. So actually, Daniel, that's really great news.
Yes. All right, and finally, Variety has announced that Will Ferrell is in the works to develop his film Eurovision Song Contest: The Story of Fire and Saga into a musical for Broadway.
I think that could work.
Yep. There is no word as to who's associated with it, the cast, or when it might open, but it seems to be backed by Netflix, and this is not the first foray of Netflix into backing Broadway. So
he was there this year.
Yeah, So we'll see.
Yeah, he doesn't get filmed, but they know he's there.
Yeah.
Apparently, he gets tickets and just hides in the crowd.
Yep. So we'll see when this comes to the stage.
Well, I'm excited.
I am too.
Daniel, your tea's looking dangerously low.
It is actually.
I
Very
can see the bottom of the barrel. I can see the bottom of the barrel. Shall we take a quick break?
We should.
And we're back, and you just missed a whole conversation about where to go pee.
Which is very limited along the parade route. Very limited.
Yeah, so I am full into like gender neutral bathrooms, but I do miss the trough in the British ones. And
it could be very efficient.
And I'm not, and I know people be like, well, that's just very like if you stand up peeing, which I get, but dear women out there, it means that we're not lining up dear sit down peers.
Yeah.
We're not going to be stand up peers are not going to be lining up for yours and vice versa.
Right.
So it just clears about five people.
Which can be the difference between peeing on yourself and not.
So I've not yet peed on myself, I have to say. I'm surprised sometimes running that I've not or shat myself.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel this is a weird conversation now. This is the culture of the week. It's appeared more in TV shows sometimes, but people trying to normalize, like it does.
Yeah.
Like accidents do happen, and I get that.
And they do happen.
My one is that when is it going to be normal to fart at a urinal?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know that we'll ever broach that line.
I think I've brought it up on a podcast before. Actually, is like you can shit, but farting is still the greatest sin.
Well, but to me, the greatest sin if someone tries to talk to me in the bathroom. I don't want to have a conversation.
What if they're real cute though?
No, like that's the thing is I don't want to have a conversation with you in the bathroom. I will, if I'm washing my hands, I'll make eye contact, but like don't have a conversation with me. And I mean specifically, like I'm thinking about at work. Like I don't
definitely not at work.
I don't want to talk about work when I'm in the bathroom. Like don't acknowledge me.
I think if I was at a bar.
Oh, if you're at a bar, that's a different situation.
But if I was at a bar and a guy, I wouldn't want a full conversation peeing. But if someone
if he's like, hey,
and you ice break, oh god, fucking line, and you're like, okay, that's an icebreaker conversation.
Yeah, that's fine.
I will meet you on the other side.
Right.
But no, I really hated when certain, and there's an age group that does it. Mm-hmm. They are the children of the walking about naked in the gym changing room.
Yeah.
But no, I can't do that.
It's the one thing that drives me crazy, and it is coworkers of a certain age. I'm like, please don't talk to me.
Please don't. This is not appropriate.
Like, I just want to get in, do my business, get out.
But do you think? Okay, we can deep dive this now. Oh God, this is in one, and this possibly could, even be a snippet, a TikTok snippet this week. You work very close to government in the sense of, do you think that's a way of a mentality of have this conversation like that sort of private conversation
as in have this conversation now as opposed to having to have it later?
Or about women?
No, here's the thing, it's always like the small talk. Every single time anyone has tried to do it at the office, it's always small talk. Like, how was your weekend? And I'm like, don't do this now. Like, you can
I got railed.
I'm like, you can come to my desk in 5 minutes whenever we're both out of this space and we can have a conversation.
That was the funniest meme of the White Lotus, or one of the many ones, was Walton Goggins' reaction to Sam Rockwell, and it's was it when you actually explain to the straight co-worker what you got up to that weekend? He's like,
I mean, I'm half tempted to do it, but like recently it's just been small talk, and it's never like that where you can embarrass. But I'm just like, please don't have this small talk right now. I don't want it.
How was your weekend? I read.
Yeah.
Here's the book.
Take notes.
Talking of that, Daniel, should we discuss your culture?
Yeah, it's my culture for the week. So food of the week, I was on my salad antics the entire week. Like, for pride. Like, it was literally salads for dinner every single day.
Did you crack the salad or was it miserable?
No, it was decent, good salads. Like, you just add some protein into it, whether it's, shaved like turkey from like the deli, or you add like salmon to it. Like that's, I think, is the key, is to make it a little bit.
I'm going to stop you. Say that people don't know. My food is I do robust food. Daniel is the key to he knows a flavor well enough to turn anything into a treat. And I think you've got an intention. So he's very good at just like, I will do this, but with a touch of this and that. So if you are going to do, obviously if I went and you made me a salad, I'd be like, bitch, where's the fucking thing? But if you want to be a nice side salad, I'd love you forever.
Yeah.
But no, so I know that you've had good, there's a lot of flavor. I'm guessing there's a lot of lemon.
There's a little bit of lemon. There's also using like fresh herbs,
Yes.
like just doing that. That's really key, is to like really bring it up.
Yeah.
But I always find to do a good salad, you need to have a crunch. It needs to be visually appealing, add the protein, and then somehow sneak in a little bit more flavor that's like 0 calories.
We like a crunch.
Yeah.
That's why we have the crispy bits.
So you either, you could do the crouton route, you could do breadcrumbs, or you can like play with like peppers and peas and green beans and stuff like that. Like
That's a crisp crunch. What we do is the wonton strips.
those are also
Because
a good
I do
crunch.
like a crouton, but it's the butter. And I'm
Yeah.
not against butter.
No, I totally get it. But
Big
like
butter,
sometimes,
don't come for me.
But sometimes you can taste it at Whole Foods. You're just like, oh, that's a lot of butter saturated into
They
that
are
crouton.
in the packety ones.
Yes.
Yes, there is a lot of butter.
I'm just like, and they're also really salty. So like, I try to add the crunch some other way.
Yeah, I like we do the wonton strips.
Yeah.
They're not as greasy.
I've also found whenever they're cheap enough, if you do like almond slivers, they'll add enough crunch.
You see, I do like an almond sliver.
Like there is something about those, and typically they're not so salty.
So the hubs, he does like buying a salad from Whole Foods. I balance it out by he spends $50 a day on salads. I'm joking, but what I do love is and I want to say it's actually snaps now. He might kill me for saying this. He has lost 15 pounds since the start of the year. He's looking great.
He is.
I wish he'd see how great he does look. He's almost to his summer goal, but I am very proud of him because there was, I gave him that, and he does not like the Caesar dressing that comes in the salads. He will do ranch.
I like Caesar.
I'm not angry with that because he puts the packets in, and then at night I'm like, I get the fatty Caesar dressing because it is, but I do the running. But I'm like, if you don't want it, I'll have because their Caesar dressing is an all-in-one, and you get you can taste the Parmesan chunks in it. I'm like, don't throw the
That's
magic
good.
away.
It's very good. It's
Anyway,
very good.
but have you replenished, or are you waiting for your good meal after a week of being a good boy?
Let's see. Since we had sushi last night, I think probably tomorrow is going to be a good meal, like a nice heartier meal of some sort.
Yeah, I need a good meal. We ended up like really eaty bits and pieces.
I feel like yesterday I was like, a pick here, a pick there, a pick here, a pick there. Like it wasn't fulfilling.
I ate a lot of candy and I ate a lot of pita chips.
Yeah, I don't say I had a lot of pita chips, but like I had a lot of pickled vegetables at the.
Did you have my meatballs?
No, I didn't have any of the meatballs.
I cooked them in salt. We found an old salsa at the back of the thing, which was still alive.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Daniel, you carry on.
Oh, yeah. Drink of the week. I'm going to give a shout out to Bruce's Ginger Ale. They have a jasmine tea flavor that was very good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very light, very refreshing. Hit all the notes I needed. Songs of the week. Tempo is Valentos by St. Vincent, or Violent Tempos, however you want to translate it. Easy Lover by Miley Cyrus on her new album. Very
How
good.
are you feeling? I'm pausing on time. How are you feeling about your album?
So here's the thing. It was my album of the week. I feel like she's like, I want to make an album for the gays. And so there are notes that are Kylie Minogue, and there are notes that are Lady Gaga and Madonna scattered about here and there. And I was like, okay, you went in there and were just like, let's take everything and put it out right before Pride.
I feel the core DNA of it is a Beyonce album in that it feels very like very concept-y. There's an intention to the whole thing. It's been like the Hubs walked in this week and went, I really like, because I've been having actually just the album on, and he goes, I really like this album.
Yeah.
He goes, you and a couple of people came up, were chatting, and someone goes, have you listened to Miley Cyrus? I'm like, yeah.
It's really good. I have very limited to no notes on it. Also, Tattooed Heart by Ariana Grande, and Naked in Manhattan by Chapel Roan.
Not heard that one yet.
I just heard it like one time. It was playing on, I don't remember what I was listening to. It must have been some radio station. It just came on with a smart device. But anyways, that's been me culture of the week, because there's been a lot of self-care and downtime because of work.
Food, like last weekend, I kind of feel like so we did like spaghetti and meatballs, and he's like, because we would like late on, and I was like, and I forget how you got buy a thing of meatballs, buy a fucking jar of something, and that, and it was just great. And then Sunday we were I said to the hubs, I want to do like lentil curry, and he's like, and then I was like, that's not going to happen. I just knew the
There's
way
a bit of effort,
and I just knew that the way that I'd get everything, and then he'd want to do something, and then we end up going to get a drink because we always go and get, we got a little drink, and I was like, just fucking bake some shit out, some tortellini, But I did do a good lentil curry that kept us going through the whole week. They say 1 cup of lentils. No, fucking pour the whole pot in and keep adding the stock, and then you've got it for the fucking week.
It's true.
And then I did make a kale and potato soup because we had leftover kale and leftover potatoes from the soup at Toscana, and it's really good. Potatoes are great in soup.
Nice hearty bit.
Delicious. Television was Motherland. Finally watching that. It's excellent. It's very similar to Working Mums if you've seen a Canadian. The Hubs is more favoriting Working Mums, but Motherland is good. She's a bit of a weird main character in it, and it's again like you're not kind of sure how much you're rooting for her.
I get that.
But apart from that, it's excellent. Doctor Who was the shock TV of the week.
I saw the final clip, so yes, I understand.
So spoiler alert: 10 minutes, people, or not 10 minutes, but just be safe. They have not. So Nashuti has done 2 seasons. Usually at the moment they do 3.
Yeah.
Disney have not said plans to renew Doctor Who. The BBC can also keep going without them, but obviously there's budget issues and stuff. They have not renewed, so we weren't. So there was no announcement Nashuti was leaving. There's rumours he's been leaving. My mum thought he was leaving because he said he has not been appearing on any TV show. Like he's not really pushing it as much. Watch the episode. Excellent episode. Really rounded up the storylines well. And then at the end, in order to reset time and bring back a daughter that was, there was an alternate dimension. There was a daughter in it. And then when they reset, when they fixed everything, the daughter had gone. So he reset time to find the daughter. It was just very. So he uses regeneration energy. He calls the regeneration. Use the energy. We didn't know he was leaving, and then on top of that, he regenerates into Billie Piper,
right?
Who played Rose, the first assistant.
Rose.
Now there has been rumours for years. Every time the Doctor is announced to be changing, the odds are. There's always an odd that it could be Billie Piper coming back. It's always been rumoured that she might come back. Now, I was lucky. We'd gone out to brunch and come back, and it was raining, and it hadn't come online yet. And I said to the hubs, I really want to watch it before the spoilers. And we managed to watch it without any spoilers.
Congrats.
My mum and dad got the news update because the BBC literally spoilt it the second. They spoilt their own show. God. So we managed to get through. I think they didn't get the Billie Piper bit. They got the fact he was regenerating. But I'm a little bit. I'm a little. The conversations online. I want to talk about like the lovely Dustin from the Rewatch Recap podcast, who's doing a very good season at the moment on Buffy. You should check that out. He just didn't feel like he was in it long enough, and they usually do the episodes. 8 seasons. 8 episodes a season. Usually they're 12.
Yeah.
He did 2 seasons.
So it was shorted, truncated.
Less seasons and less episodes per season. And it didn't help. The first season he did, they called them the Doctor Light episodes. So usually there's one episode a season where the Doctor's not in it, or even at all. And usually it's to let the actor catch his breath, their breath. And then also they are usually very cleverly written. So Carrie Mulligan's episode is Dr. Light, and is a reason, and it's just a really clever. And usually it gives them a challenge. So we kind of felt a bit like he kind of was barely in it, and also we don't know now. Like it just said at the end and introducing Billie Piper, but it didn't say as the Doctor,
right?
And they'd also had a cameo from the previous Doctor had been in it, and they were as the Doctor. So there's a lot up in the air, and there's kind of rumours that basically Russell T doesn't know what's going on, and he found it. Instead of having a blank regeneration, gave the ultimate cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if I want more episodes. I love David Tennant, Catherine Tate's return episodes. They were really well done. But if you're working with truncated seasons, and bearing in mind every Doctor Who season has a 2-episode finale, that's great. Oh, it means though, you got a first episode where you introduce the assistant. It leaves you 5 episodes for them to have their adventures.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to do more 3 specials with Billy Piper and then go to the next Doctor. But I'm also a bit like, if you're running on shorter thing, you don't have time to muck about.
Yeah, every second is precious. Every episode has weight.
But it did deliver a shock, and I think they got. I love Nashuti. And if you're getting offered the roles, apparently he is getting offered, and Disney are saying we're not sure we're going to renew. I can kind of see why he's like, well, then I'm not going to renew. And I think Disney. I think it has been mucked up with this delay. I wish he'd been in it more. The rumor has it. So in the second to last episode, his Susan, his granddaughter from the very first in the 60s came back and said, and I think she's running the Time Hotel, which is another story, because at the end of it, there's a cameo. His second assistant in this episode was the lovely Anita from the Christmas special, who appeared, and I'm like, yes, Anita's back, and she moved into the Time Hotel, which is another. I know I'm talking bullshit at this point, and she goes, the manager says hi, and I'm like, is that reference to Susan? And apparently, the story I've heard a rumor that the daughter, Poppy, was going to become the mum of Susan, and their third season was going to be, even Nashuti did it, all about the finding out of what's going on. And that's where I think they were going to go, and then they changed it all. So I'm hoping that they can kind of work out what to do next, because if they're going to be mucking about with the renewal, this is the trouble with the American system, this is when you end up with these 2-season max renewals.
Sorry.
It is, and the budget's good, but is it when it's killing the story?
Is it worth it?
Or do they need to just put Doctor Who on the coolers? Anyway, that's enough Doctor Who chat. I also can talk forever. Movies this week, I went to see Bring Her Back. It was so good, but at the same time, at one point, a knife was put in somewhere that it shouldn't be put in. I turned to the side. I found myself face to face with the lady 2 seats down. So we were going, Sally Hawkins is in it, and I love her, but she's psycho in it. Okay. Just go and see it. It's about a kid in foster care, and then they find out that the foster mum is trying to do something, and it's really quite something. I also watched The Rise of Skywalker and Solo. I don't know. I just needed some Star Wars in my life again, and I just put it on in the background.
Just a little hint.
Finally, theatre. Went to see Hedwig of the Angry Inch at the Signature Theatre. Excellent. Fucking amazing. I love Hedwig's my favourite musical.
Love it so much.
We'll say that I think the opening monologue or the opening dialogue, I know they have to reset it up, could be a bit tighter. And then needed a beat at the end, but apart from that, virtually perfect show. The joke is that Hedwig has left East Germany to get over the Berlin Wall. When it was written in the 90s, the ages worked out. You have to pretend like there's 2 decades that Hedwig did not exist for, because otherwise we worked out she would be like close to 50 by the time she does it. But because they mention a lot of Trump, they joke about it being, they really mention Pride. It was very, they adjust the dialogue to the time.
It was very current, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
I understand.
And then we listened, John, to the Kennedy Center, Don't Cancel Us, and saw the Black Sabbath ballet, which was fucking brilliant. We have to support the arts, I know, and if I'm not going to go into how the Kennedy Center is funded, yes, unfortunately it's under the administration at the moment, but it's still an arts theatre. This was a Birmingham, England based ballet company. I really enjoyed it. The Hub said some notes. I think his issue had been that there was no director on board that was keep them tight. But when they came out the end of Paranoid as a mass thing, it was fucking phenomenal. And that's been my culture of the week.
Oh, that's been enough.
Shall we move on to the culture of everyone else?
Yes, we should.
So, Daniel, World Pride.
World Pride. It's here.
It's queer.
It's happening. Happened by the time this comes out.
So, yeah, we're not sure we're going to the festival today.
I'm not.
You're not, yeah. No, we usually pootle down, but the weather's looking foul.
It's so foul, and there's a critique in that the festival part 1 was yesterday, and festival part 2 is today. And
what was yesterday?
Yesterday is supposed to be the exact same thing with a different lineup of performers, but all the booths that are currently there are still going to be there today.
Yeah,
which is fine.
And I think, yeah, so Cynthia Erivo was last night. we have we're going to see her in September with Meg and Tim. So we're and they usually do about 3 songs. I would love to have wandered down, but it's like a 90-minute round trip, and we had we threw a party, which we love doing. It was lovely. Yes. So we didn't bother. I didn't know I wasn't sure what the festival situation was going to be. So for those that don't know, festivals usually refer to basically it's a community event. You have the parade,
and then a street fair, and in theory, it really should be where people can go and discover the community and discover like groups, social groups, all that sort of thing. And I discovered Switchboard through that in England, the scandals I saw over here. So they really are good. Yes, there is a lot. And we discovered Rainbow History Project, which didn't work out for both of us, but I do support what they're trying to do. And it is good, but it is a lot of corporate. You kind of come away with a lot of fucking shit. You come away with a lot of swag that you don't necessarily need, which is fine. I understand that you've got to do it to promote stuff. Totally understand.
I like my British Embassy Pride gear though.
Yes,
but the flag. That's it. You've got to know who you want to go for. But we don't need. Neither of us need another Wells Fargo flag.
No, we don't need another Wells Fargo flag. We don't need another koozie that has a flag on it that says, I don't know, some organization.
I got a 930 club, and I've been dying. That's our local venue. I've been dying for a 930 club koozie.
Okay, that's
it. Yeah, that's
appropriate. But like, I don't need one that's like Kaiser supports Pride koozie. Like, okay.
And I will give this in a parade giant. We're giving away stress relievers. I got the peach and the banana. There was an eggplant and there was a pineapple. That was fucking genius.
It was absolutely genius. They knew their audience.
And they're going to go, the banana and the peach are going in the fruit bowl. I didn't know there was other ones. I was like, gutted. But no, it is. So the festival, they had 2 lineups. Who's headlining today's one?
I don't even know. Doechii is one of the performers.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Because Hubs' cousin's partner wants to go see Doechii.
Yeah, but there's someone else that's supposed to be in there too.
Yeah, they do. We usually go down. So usually it's only on a Sunday. You can hear them. It's restricted because you can only drink in certain bits, which is not affecting us this year.
Yeah.
Whether or not we're going to go down, I know Pop near us are doing it. So how have you felt about World Pride overall?
So I was a little bit leery going into it. I think being at the parade yesterday helped a lot. And that's, I was like, oh yes, it's World Pride. Like, I understand. I felt like it was busier than a normal DC Pride. I feel like, though, it was still very much a DC Pride parade. Like, I don't know that I saw too much difference, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the biggest change I saw was obviously there was representation from the different countries. Did you see the Barcelona Pride?
Yes.
Oh my God, they were hot.
Yes, they were.
So they had representation from different countries, which was great. Because usually we get that anyway, because we're capital, we have the embassies.
Right. So for me, I was like, oh, great. It's the Nordic countries as opposed to like the embassy of Denmark normally.
Yeah.
Like, it was that is what I noticed.
But the Brits came down. They did their Beatles on Abbey Road bit. They look really great. But at the same time, I was a little bit... I'm guessing there's no London Pride contingent. Because London Pride's a huge one.
Yeah, I didn't see, for what I stayed there, I didn't see it at all.
Yeah, It felt, I mean, we were all very worried, and genuinely were nervous. My biggest one, I think, was someone's going to try and drive a car. Luckily, DC, I think, would be harder to...
We also know how to block off streets really well. Like, there was like a double block off, is what I noted.
And garbage trucks are used quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I think everyone was nervous. I think I generally got the vibe at the party afterwards, and even chatting to people in the crowd, the Hubs was, not me, you know me. Heads up to Stacey, who was a mum, and she looked at me because I take my shirt off because my t-shirt was getting real fucking hot, and she goes, "You need to put some sunscreen on," and I'm like, "Thank you," and she gave me some sunscreen. Was that everyone was just sort of being nervous? They were getting into spirit, and then everyone started to relax. I think everyone was still vigilant, but we were on the side that we could all get back to our apartments.
Yeah.
So we were. I think that was nice. And when we got to the party, that was good.
Yes.
Festival's going to be like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. And like I said, I'm probably not going.
Yeah.
At all. And it's nothing against the festival. It's just like, I don't know that I need to go down there.
Well, Pop is doing a drag show, so I don't know if we're going to go along at maybe something there.
I mean, let me. I'm telling you this now. Let me know if you do go.
Yeah.
To that one.
So we went out. We went to Shakers on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually quite empty at happy hour. Because I was kind of buzzing everyone, going, "We're going at 5. We don't know how busy it's going to get. Is it going to?" And you never know.
You never know with a Pride period, anyways.
And then, so there was the big Pride party, which was a concert, and J-Lo was doing. That was over 2 nights as well. So you had
that was at RFK.
Yeah. So J-Lo did the Friday opening, and then Saturday. That clashed in with the festivals there too. So there, people had tickets for 2 days.
Yeah.
And then today's just a festival.
I think it's just I can't keep track.
A lot of it was out of towners, which is nice. I had somewhere to go, but we looked at it. I think we thought about going, and then I think had the administration been different, we would have looked at it. But at the same time, it's not really. Everyone seemed to have a good time that was going.
Yeah.
But when we walked back, so we ended up walking back up from the Kennedy, and on Friday at about 10, it was probably getting close to 11 actually, and we were, and there was just lines around the block for everywhere to get in. And Christian had got into Crush and said it was just manic. He said he got chatting to some people, but it was manic.
And he sent a video, and I was just like, "This is a picture of my hellscape." Like it was so many people.
We walked past Ice Company, and it was dead. Which I was hoping to get some out of towners in there, like more of the Denver boys. But I said to the Hubs, "Do you want to go Pop, like just for like a last one?" Because that's a straight. It's not a straight bar. I don't want to say it in that way, but it's not a specific queer bar.
Yeah, right.
And actually, we're in there. I forget our Seba's name. She's so lovely, and and then as we're in, 2 groups of gays came in, and I think they just must have seen all the flags up, and it was very pink in there, and it was like the
party came to you.
Yeah, and I think just at that point, and I think with the festivals coming out, so I don't know. Apparently last night was manic on the streets. I wouldn't know because we kicked people out about 1:30. Oh my god.
So I left your place at 9:30. I'm gonna admit, listeners, I went to bed early, but it was fine. It wasn't too crazy walking back. Like I walked back because I was like, I knew I was not gonna get an Uber last night, and so I walked back. It was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
apparently stuff went down later. So.
Yeah. I mean, I said.
But I don't know there was even Pride related stuff that went down later.
Or just general vibe, because I should have mentioned this actually in our culture is that Trade now has got this giant back patio they've opened. Finally, they've had a sliver of a patio. I like Trade. I just have issues in that the space always feels awkward.
It's a weird layout.
Energy. And actually, the patio had a better. If the long tables a better feel, and now they've opened it up and it's giving town vibes, which and I think they've actually replicated it in a way like wooden. Well, you know the way that towards the back at Trade had the wooden bench, like the built into they've done it all around. And John, who does the door at Trade, he came up to chat to us about it. That was Wednesday, and Hubs had a meeting on Thursday, so we couldn't go to the soft opening. And I said, "This is giving me." Town, he goes, I know what you're going to say. I said, this is going to be town patio, and he's like, thank you, this is what they wanted.
Good.
I think he's going to give Little Gay Pub and Crush a run for its money in the summer. Trade is still rough trade, in a good way. There was some juicy guys there. I was like, hey, but it is still that end of it. But it's got the, I would say now, the best outdoor space in DC.
Nice, noted.
That's on ground level. Uproar is probably the next one, but Uproar is still very small.
Yes,
but we'll try and get to. And Christian works in a Trade, so I say one night we should go and just check it out, like do a Wednesday or something. But no, I'm like, this is good. Today's going to be maybe not, but last night I'd imagine would have been packed. And I think probably I will probably put my money on one of the better atmospheres in DC because it's large. It would have been packed. They've also done a window so you can buy drinks on the outside again, like that. So so the next door they've opened, it's going to be high ceilinged. I think they're going to do a lot of make that the party room, and there's going to be a door between, but at the back of it they're going to have a separate bar, a patio bar.
Nice.
Clever.
Well, I mean, it keeps you from having to go back in and then coming back out. Like That's nice.
Yeah.
I like
I think they're clever with this one, and they've started. Hopefully, they'll get a good summer out of it.
I think they've started early enough. They should.
But going back to Pride, though, not trying to have smoke bone. How do you feel the vibe was at the party with it last night?
Oh, I thought the vibe was very nice last night.
People seemed chill. Generally,
people were chill. Generally, speaking,
Yeah.
a few people had some high strongness going about them, but other than that, like it was very relaxed.
Yeah.
Everyone was having a good time.
I felt the atmosphere was. Again, we don't do that. We don't do the bars, and I've chatted to a few people about it. Is that we've hit an age.
We have. The thought of like going out at 11 o'clock to a bar, I'm like, no.
Do you know what? If someone had said to me maybe last night, actually someone did offer, someone went, I know some people. I'm like, you don't know the right people to get you into those bars tonight.
No.
If someone had said to me last night and the party was, because sometimes our parties wind down early.
Yeah.
People have been outside. I'm never against it. Like I said to the hubs, should I put some more Tostinos on? Yeah, I'm a tread wife. And he goes, well, are people eating them? I said, if they don't and they all leave now, it means I've got a whole fucking tray of Tostino pizza rolls and a fucking television. I'm not going to be complaining.
Right.
If the party had died
worse.
and someone had said, I can get us, actually, I've just got that, I can get us into trade. I actually would have said, you know what? Fuck it. If I don't have to line up,
Yeah.
I will walk in.
That's the key.
If you walk me in, I would have gone
and
maybe just spent, even though I've done it and just get the atmosphere, I'm not lining up.
No. We don't do lines.
But then I don't do, but then some people, like when I was back in college, uni, like it would be the sort of, you judge a night, how good a night was about at what point your memory ended of it. Oh, no, I can't remember past 10. Oh, I can't remember leaving the apartment, which happened a few times. And it's a bit like, oh, yeah, it was such a good night. Oh, my God, the line to get into trade was immense. But, oh, my God, I'm like, unless there's a fucking fairground ride at the end of it, mate,
Well, sometimes there is.
But, and I'm like, no, I don't.
No, thank you.
No. But you think, so... I think it was an elevated DC Pride. I don't know as a well Pride.
Yeah, I would say it was an elevated DC Pride, and by elevated I mean slightly.
Yeah,
I don't even mean like it was a level up. I'm like it was just a little bit busier.
And I'm curious to the festival, and I'm guessing it's going to be a no, because when we go, it's the same food, and I like my festival food. They never get a blooming onion, because they never fall apart how they're meant to.
No.
I'm guessing turkey legs will now be up to $30.
Probably. That's what's going to be elevated, the price.
Right. But I wonder, like, I don't know, if it's going to be a well Pride, different foods. But I don't think they will.
I don't think they are.
No.
I don't think they are. And I hate being that Debbie Downer, but I just don't see it happening.
And I just also want to say is that the Asian community groups fucking came out
They did.
with it. And oh my God.
They were spectacular.
Thank you. I would say that. On that, shall we leave on a high note?
We should.
I don't actually have a gagged and gooped. I want to say as of 11:44 a.m. on a Sunday, I am really happy that we have had no nasty stories from it. And I want to, and as much as we have, there has been some issues with World Pride and Capital Pride. And I think not all of it is their fault, but there has been, generally from some Facebook responses, some heads in the sand moments about things.
Yes.
I still do want to say that I think they overall, it seems like everyone's done this, and they've done it under closures of stuff, but they have. It's not been made easy in a city that a minority can make a bigger impact in terms of the stuff, and I think they've navigated it well. And I know that a lot of stuff that we would like to have seen done wasn't done because there was people making their lives harder. So I think we should give them snaps.
Yes,
they did pull it off, and so far we've got till this evening to pull it off.
Well, yeah.
But yes, so that's my gagged and gooped is that can we please keep going, because it's just the start of Pride season.
Yeah, it is.
Well, actually,
just the start.
Well, we might, probably for us, it's just the end as well.
I was going to say, it's the end for us.
But it's always Pride season on Bitches to Be a Podcast, so
That's
please follow us on all the social medias. Daniel, do you have a word of the week?
I do have a word of the week. So the word of the week is Swedish, and it's legume. It's the joy of life of moderation. Just enough. So was your pride just enough?
Large in life is just a perfect size.
Right.
I don't really have a petticoat lane at all.
I don't either. I don't. I don't.
As I say, it was in Shakers, and there was a group of lesbians. Love our lesbians. If anyone hates any gays, go, I don't like lesbians. Read about their work during the HIV crisis. Mm-hmm. And a couple of them had the babies with them. And some people are like, oh my God, there's babies in here. I'm like, you know what? They're fucking affecting no one. If it's kids running about, that's a different story.
That is a completely different story. But if it's a baby,
some lesbians do that. So let's just remember that there is more to pride than getting wasted drunk.
True. Or having a shag.
Okay. Shag. I love a rough shag by the fire.
Right.
Should we just cheers it before we come out ourselves? Cheers.
Cheers.
This has been a Bearded Bitch production recorded in a Diane Keaton podcast studio in Haberdashery.
You've been listening to The Bitches with Beards. I've been Daniel.
And I'm Max. A big thanks to you all for tuning in and giving us a listen. Don't forget to rate, subscribe and review the following on Twitter, X and TikTok, where you can find us at Bitches with Beards.
Please remember that only a mother could love our views and opinions, and they reflect us and no one else.
We'll hear you next week unless we're cancelled. Cheers.